Hey there gardeners, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Today I am going through some of my cuttings and showing you some of the results of what I've done. These are just some random cuttings that I've taken over the last few weeks, including some Crape Myrtle cuttings. We've got a combination of oak leaf hydrangea, some ninebark, some Onondaga viburnums, and over here we got a little bit of Russian sage, as well as some Palace Castle artemisia. So let me go through these. I'll show you a little bit about what worked, kind of where they are now, and we'll just talk about, what I did here. Okay, let's start today with these Crape Myrtle cuttings. You can see here I've got this little 4-inch pot, and I've got 4 cuttings in that 4-inch pot. These were all taken from a seed-grown Crape Myrtle that I transplanted to where they are today, and you can see here in the bottom that there are some roots that are coming out of the very bottom of the base. When I've got them at this stage, I know they've gotten some roots. So it's a pretty good time for me to go ahead and break them out of their container. I just kind of squeeze the outside of the container a little bit to loosen it. The soil is moist, so they should come out pretty easily here. And I'll just very carefully tip them here onto my makeshift table. And you can see lots of little white roots coming out from all over the place. So I'm going to just gently break apart this clump here, try not to damage any roots in the process. And here we go. We got 4 out of 4 cuttings that have rooted. This one's a little smaller, but it looks good. Those roots look nice and healthy. This one here also looks really good. That one, again, you can see here that the roots are coming from the internodes as well as the nodes. If you don't know what a node is, it's the spot where the leaves tend to come out. Those are growing points on the plant, and roots often will go through those. Internodes is the space in between. So, and then here, that one looks really good. I used a combination of core and sand for this mixture, and I did use rooting hormone on them, and they have performed very well. So I'm going to get those nice and potted up here in a little bit. So let me move over to this one here. These are Russian sage and artemisia. I did these cuttings back a few videos ago when I was talking about what I look for in cuttings to actually take the right kind of cutting at the right time and stuff. So we'll pop it out, and we're just using these little makeshift yogurt cups. They do have some holes in the bottom, and I can start to see some roots coming out here. So I need to get these out before they actually get pot bound in the container. So here we go. Let's take a look here. This Russian sage looks pretty good. It's got a nice little clump of roots on it. And this one looks like it's got more roots to it, although the clump is a little clumpy. All right, there we go. We got some roots right here on this side. We got a 3rd Russian sage right here. So all 3 of those rooted well. And Palace Castle artemisia, it is a beautiful plant. Kind of sprawls out a bit and creates this really nice silvery foliage everywhere. Extremely pest resistant, deer resistant, rabbit resistant. So I like having it as an ornamental in various places. But you can see that one rooted well. And this one rooted really well. It's got a lot of roots going around it. So that's great. And right there, that one also rooted. So we got those 3, and they do root fairly easily, so you don't even need rooting hormone on ones like that. They're pretty simple to do. So I'll move a little bit of this stuff out. And I'm going to go ahead and pot these up into the soil mix I have over here. It's just a mixture of core, a little bit of compost, and some what you call soil conditioner, and it's kind of like 1/3 of each. So I'm going to put that into some pots so that they don't dry out, and then I'll come back and I'll go over this other container here with the ninebark and the oak leaf hydrangea in just a second. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this other container of cuttings here. Again, we got some ninebark, we got some Onondaga viburnum. They've got kind of similar leaves, but you can tell the difference here. Those are the viburnums, those are the ninebarks. And right here we've got that oak leaf hydrangea. That's one of my favorite types of hydrangea. So, and I have not checked all of these, so I don't know exactly what has rooted at this point. So we will see together. So let me break this up just a little, and then we'll gently turn over. I do know there's some roots because I can see them coming out the bottom. So here's what we've got. Onondaga viburnum, really good roots there. And then same with this one right here. They look great. Now this one here also has some good rooting on it. These were about 3-node cuttings, and you've got some activity right at the node. You have some up and down below the node. So they can, again, go internodal. All right, so I'm taking a look. I was hoping that this oak leaf hydrangea would have rooted. It has not as of yet. So what I'll do is I'll probably put it back in the container and see if it will go and eventually start to root. So we'll take care of that here in a minute. And then over here, we've got our 9-barks, and we've got some rooting right here on that side. And that seems to be coming from a node, but there's also one that's internodal down here. And then right here, we've got a lot of activity from 2 nodes, right here and right there. So we've got 2 separate sets of roots on it. And then this one did not root. You can tell here it's got some blackening happening. When that happens at the base of the cutting, it is not going to make it. So we'll just toss that out into the yard. And then this one did really well as well. So you can see nodes right here, internodes, and then another node right there. So either way is good for them. And again, those are 3 node cuttings on those 9-barks. So that's what we've got. I'm going to put this oak leaf hydrangea back into its container and hopefully get some roots out of it. It may not work out. You just never know. You just got to keep trying until you get something to work. And so in case you want to see how I actually pot these up, it's pretty simple. But I will take this cutting here. It's got the ones with the 2 nodes coming out. And I'm going to go ahead and fill up probably halfway in this little container. These are just reused containers from previous nursery plants. And I'm going to set this in here just like this and kind of lightly hold it while I'm letting the soil go in and around it. Take out some large chunks if there are any. And then I just kind of press it down in there. I want to make sure that both little groups of roots are covered really well in here. And then I will go ahead and water. So that's really all there is to it. You try to keep it centered if you can. And sometimes you're not perfect, and that's okay. So I'm just going to give them a little drink of water right here. And as far as aftercare with cuttings, I generally will keep them in a semi-shady to mostly shady area until I feel like they are good to get more sunlight, then gradually expose them. They'll probably be in the shady area for about a week, probably no more than that. May only need a few days, especially for the Russian sage and the artemisia. Those are vigorous growers. The crepe myrtles should be fine too in a couple of days. So I'm really pleased with how these have worked. They did great. We've got a lot of good roots on the artemisia, the Russian sage, the onondaga. 9-bark, we lost 1 cutting, but that's good. That's a very good rate, still at 75%. That's really nice. You will lose cuttings. That's just the way it goes. And you just got to keep trying. Don't give up on it after 1 batch of cuttings. Maybe they all die. Maybe you let them dry out or something like that, and then they all fail. Don't give up on it. Try again. It will work for you if you just keep going and learn from the mistakes that you do make. Now, with regard to the crepe myrtles, we got 100% of those rooted, which I'm really thrilled with. That's really amazing. I kind of expected about 50%, but we got 100. Now, one thing, and I'll give you a couple tips on the crepe myrtles, because a lot of you guys have probably found me based on that crepe myrtle video. With crepe myrtles, I really prefer the cuttings to come from the base of the plant. When you take from the base of the plant, you've got the shoots that have fresh energy coming from the plant. They are usually the hardiest type of cutting that you can take. So they do really well when you're taking cuttings from them. Anyway, so your crepe myrtles, take from those shoots. The other thing that you get when you take from those shoots and you cut things off at the bottom is that you grow your tree into a tree form instead of the bush form, which I think looks way better when you plant it. They're just beautiful trees when they are trees. I'm not a huge fan of them as little shrubs unless they are meant to grow that way with one of those dwarf varieties, but I'm kind of getting off topic. So the other tip for these crepe myrtles is to go and take cuttings that have about 4 or 7 nodes, somewhere between that range of 4 and 7. Now you could potentially get something in the root that's bigger than that or something that's smaller than that, but I find that 4 to 7 is kind of a sweet spot for me to get these to root. These were about 4, these were about 6 or 7 on each one of those. And so I think they've done really well with that. A lot of times when you have a longer cutting that you can take that's maybe closer to the 7, you've got a little bit more energy built up in that stem that allows it to shoot those roots out. So once again, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. I really appreciate you hanging out with me here on this video and watching it to the end, because now it is time to end, in which case I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time here on Growing the Home Garden. Thanks again for watching.